As the first light of dawn broke over the Mississippi River on April 29, 1863, the gunboats of the Union Navy arrayed themselves like titans against the serene backdrop of Grand Gulf. On this day, the quiet of morning was shattered by the thunderous roar of cannons, marking the commencement of one of the Civil War's less heralded yet vitally significant battles. The Battle of Grand Gulf, though often overshadowed by the more infamous confrontations at Gettysburg or Antietam, was a pivotal skirmish that would inexorably tilt the scales in Ulysses S. Grant's campaign in the Western theater. Nestled alongside the mighty Mississippi, Grand Gulf held a position of remarkable strategic importance during the American Civil War. It was not only a physical stronghold, but also a psychological barrier in the path of Union aims to control the Mississippi River and split the Confederacy. Prior to the battle, both Union and Confederate leaders recognized that controlling Grand Gulf would provide a critical launching point for attacks deep into the heart of Mississippi. Understanding the geographical significance of Grand Gulf assists in appreciating the meticulous planning that preceded the engagement. The Confederate fortifications at Grand Gulf were considered formidable, equipped with heavy artillery and well-constructed defenses, benefiting from the natural high ground overlooking the river. The necessity to seize Grand Gulf was further magnified by its role as a lifeline for Confederate logistics. It served as a crucial conduit for supplies, troops, and communication between the eastern and western theaters of war. For General Ulysses S. Grant, capturing Grand Gulf was key not only for military advantage but also to sever these Confederate lifelines, thereby weakening opposition forces across multiple fronts. The characters who played pivotal roles in the Battle of Grand Gulf were as dynamic as the battle itself. Commanding the Union forces was Admiral David Dixon Porter, a man as renowned for his naval prowess as he was for his fiery temperament. Opposing him, Confederate Brigadier General John S. Bowen, although lesser known, proved a formidable tactician, whose defensive strategies were highly respected by his peers. Admiral Porter, commanding a fleet of ironclads and gunboats, initiated the assault with a ferocious bombardment intended to neutralize the Confederate heavy artillery. His naval strategy was bold and direct, reflecting his aggressive approach to warfare. On shore, General Bowen's response was equally cunning. His decision to deploy his forces across the terrain that offered natural defensive advantages showcased his deep understanding of the battleground. The resilience of the Confederate soldiers under his command was emblematic of Bowen's leadership and the strategic significance they placed on holding Grand Gulf. The clash between Porter's naval might and Bowen's strategic acumen created a spectacle of war that was both horrific and awe-inspiring. Amidst this chaos, numerous acts of individual heroism and tactical ingenuity emerged, illustrating the complexity and human aspect of the Battle of Grand Gulf. The battle commenced with Porter's fleet moving into position at dawn, unleashing a torrent of fire upon the Confederate fortifications. The initial hours were marked by a hellish exchange of artillery, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. Despite the ferocity of the Union bombardment, the Confederate defenses held firm, thanks primarily to the strategic placement of their artillery and the ruggedness of the terrain. As the battle progressed, the tactical decisions of each commander began to significantly influence the tide of conflict. Porter's decision to send small, armed contingents onto the shores in an attempt to outflank the Confederate positions was a critical move. These troops faced severe resistance, and the rugged, treacherous landscape added to the complexity of their mission. The resilience of the Confederate forces during these hours cannot be overstated. Despite being outnumbered and facing superior firepower, their ability to maintain control over key positions was testament to both their strategic planning and their tenacity in the face of overwhelming odds. The aftermath of the Battle of Grand Gulf was a mixture of tactical stalemate and strategic victory for the Union. Although the Confederate forces managed to hold their ground during the battle, the prolonged engagement weakened their ability to maintain strong defensive positions along the Mississippi. This allowed General Grant the opportunity to execute a daring move downstream, which eventually led to the capture of Vicksburg, a decisive victory in the campaign. The strategic implications of Grand Gulf extended beyond the immediate tactical outcomes. It showcased the importance of combined arms operations and underscored the Union's growing dominance in naval capabilities. For the Confederacy, it highlighted the critical challenges of sustaining effective defensive lines with limited resources. The Battle of Grand Gulf, though not as famous as other Civil War engagements, had profound implications on the outcome of the war in the Western Theater. It served as a crucial pivot point, enabling strategic maneuvers that would ultimately lead to significant Union victories. Through this detailed exploration, the echoes of valor and strategy at Grand Gulf offer a vivid reminder of the complex tapestry that is military history.